Hello and welcome to another Solihull Podcast, brought to you from the Solihull Observer and Solihull Radio and also What's on Solihull. My name is Claire Bullivant from the Observer and we're back with the original Dream Team this morning at Solihull Radio with Mr. Solihull himself, Geoff O'Brien. Hello, Geoff.
Hello, everybody.
And we've also got It Ain't a Party Unless It's an Ian Rogers Party, who has been away organising all the best events all summer, but he's back. Ian, we've missed you.
Hello, welcome back. It's good to be back.
Ian's in the house. I can't believe it. It's the Dream Team again.
It feels right, doesn't it, guys?
Absolutely.
Old school style.
Old school style. So we'll start by chatting about some of this week's top news stories that have been happening around Solihull. First news story is the front page of today's Solihull Observer. That's Thursday we record this podcast on.
That's right.
And it's all about this hitman who blasted a woman as she sat watching TV. Guys, this doesn't happen in Solihull normally.
No, thankfully.
Normal. Can I just say there must be something behind this that we're not completely on top of?
It feels like that, doesn't it? It
Yeah.
feels like this seems really rare that someone would just go into a particular house and target. And I think reading through the article, I think she threw a Rolex at him because she assumed it was a robbery. So she was like, get him out.
Yeah,
give him something tangible to leave.
Just go.
But we don't know why he did it. He's apparently from Lithuania, or that's where his family's from. But he turned up and the lady in question was just sitting watching TV, and this man came in and started trying to blast her with a handgun. Luckily, the gun jammed, and she thought it was an intruder robbing her for valuables or something, so threw her Rolex at him. But anyway, he fled, and luckily the police got CCTV footage of his car or something that had cloned plates, but found out that it had travelled across the Eurotunnel. Anyway, managed to track him down, but we still don't know why he did it.
He's been jailed, though, hasn't he?
Well, apparently, he's been jailed.
30 years?
30 years. So thank goodness he's off the streets. But I hope we find out the reasons, because they didn't know each other. There was no connection.
They were in the same room. He's got a handgun. Did any of the bullets actually hit the lady?
I don't think so, no. I think it jammed.
About it hitting a hand or
right.
something like that, but I don't think he could do any real damage because it then jammed, I think. The
Oh,
gun
right.
did. So
I don't think she was hurt, but she was obviously definitely shocked.
crikey.
But I just wish we knew this real. Hopefully it'll come out.
On the back of that story, moving on into a little bit further into the paper, there's a whole story about knife crime in our area as well.
This is horrible. This is two teens who've actually been jailed for raids across Solihull and Birmingham. They've been smashing their way into homes and threatening motorists with these weapons. You can see one of the weapons on page 7 of this week's Solihull Observer, and they call it like a zombie knife or something. That's horrific. Can you imagine being in your car or having somebody attack you with that? It's horrendous. But one of the guys is 18 and one's 17, so the 17-year-old obviously can't be named. But apparently the report is that they were really brazen and cocky in these crimes. They were posting pictures on their social media of them posing in the cars they've stolen and with things that... I mean, it's just, what is the world coming to?
It's a bit insane. I mean, I think they was wearing skeleton masks as well. I mean, that in itself, someone coming into your house in a skeleton mask, it's like something out of a horror movie, isn't it?
This, going back to what Claire said, this doesn't happen in Solihull. And is it becoming more on the sort of radar now? Are we seeing it because it's on the radar, or is it generally increasing?
I blame Peaky Blinders.
Do you?
Well, do you know, I've only just started watching Peaky Blinders.
Right.
I'm one of those people who's just catching up, so I'm watching it. But I can't believe the violence.
Do you know what? I let it go out to the end of the series and then I watch it back to back on
That's clever.
On playback.
Yeah, it's really good. Love it. But it is very violent. And I'm thinking that people do get ideas, don't they?
Yeah.
They
TV.
want to be gangsters nowadays. And
I think TV and games probably all has a part to play in it, doesn't it? I think with this, the knife crime is, I know there's different, I've been to a few different, because doing the festivals, been to a different police talks and things. One based around terrorism, and now there's a big project on this Project Guardian, which is around knives, which is becoming, I think more and more people have them on them to protect themselves because of what's going on. But then obviously once they've got them on there, they're in a situation where they've got the option to use them as well. And I think they've just got to somehow clamp down. And I don't know what the answer. Almost thinking, I've got this image in my head of building a huge prison, and if you get caught with a knife, you do 5 years. And so it's we have to kind of create. Our prisons are overcrowded, so we don't have the option to do that. But the sentence isn't harsh enough to stop people carrying stuff around with
And
them.
often the police are scared to stop and search, aren't they? They've had so many of those powers taken away from them that they're
That's right.
frightened to stop certain people or ask those questions. So
I'd be frightened with a knife like that as well.
That's right. And you need, what do they call it? Section 60, stop and search. And you need the Section 60 signed off by a higher ranking officer.
Oh, yeah.
And once you get that Section 60, you can stop search for just the thought of something going wrong. Otherwise, you're in trouble.
Well, it's frightening, though, isn't it? Seeing these pictures of these sort of things, weapons on our streets.
I'd just like to tell you off a little bit, actually, Claire. Right next to the article on page 7, police are investigating reports of 2 stabbings. Can we have some nice news in the Solihull Observer,
Do you know
please?
what? I literally this morning emailed our editorial director and I said, can we have some nice news? This week our paper is filled with crimes and horrific things happening. And so much good does happen in Solihull, doesn't it? So if you guys read our paper or listen to Solihull Radio or have any good news, get in touch with one of us because we want to report about it. We
Please
really do.
And if you're just sort of visiting the area and you're leisurely reading this week's Solihull Observer, it's not like that every week. So,
Beautiful borough.
Yeah, come back next week and read the next edition of the Observer or listen into the next edition of the podcast.
Absolutely.
And you'll see what it's really like.
Well, to brighten things up again, let's get on to politics, shall we?
Did you listen, Ian? Did you listen to our Brexit podcast last week when you were out and about?
I haven't.
Oh, check it out. It's absolutely brilliant. We had Professor Alex de Ruyter on chatting about our political...
It was a professor of Birmingham University chatting to me about Brexit. He was given 2 minutes warning to go on the podcast. So
I know. I just phoned him and he said, "Yeah, let's do it." And we
I
had a
was talking
lovely
about
chat.
me having 2 minutes warning. I had no warning.
What was the outcome?
I won. Definitely. Hands down, I won.
To be honest, Claire was very well...
Future MP?
Future
Maybe?
MP. No, yeah. That could be something. But she did really well. I just said the silly questions like, what happens if we just build a wall or something? The silly stuff. But Claire had all her facts and figures.
I don't know. I was madly Googling in the
Donald
background.
Trump over there. The Donald Trump. Let's build a wall. I don't think that's always the answer, Geoff.
No, build a wall. Northern Ireland, build a wall between those two and it'll be fine.
Well, one of my points actually is in this week's paper. It was a story about Dame Caroline
Spellman.
She's the MP for Meriden and she's retiring. And one of my points that I was talking to our professor about was how awful I think it is that so many of our MPs, they get voted in by their constituents, but then they are supposed to follow our lead. And I do think too many politicians are getting too big for their little political boots because they then go off and they don't represent what their people have asked for. They suddenly are like, no, I don't agree with it. I'm going to go and campaign against what my constituents wanted. And this is exactly what I feel Dame Caroline's done. And she's bearing the wrath, basically, and now is retiring because I feel that's a lot to do with it. Obviously, she's giving other reasons that she wants to move on to different things and everything. But I do feel that... How do you guys feel about that?
Well, say it as it is, Claire. You put that point across well. Last time I spoke to Dame Caroline, she was doing some amazing work in our community, supporting Breast Cancer Haven and sort of championing those sort of things. But you're right. I remember from the Brexit referendum that in this particular area it was something like 56% leave.
56.16 to leave, 43.84
right,
to stay.
so she is the voice of us. Oh, that was clever.
It's Caroline.
That's Caroline emailing you now.
She's texting.
She's just texted you, hasn't she? I remember from the Brexit votes, it was something like 56%, wasn't it, to leave?
Yeah.
Or just a little bit more. So that's going against what her constituents are giving her the mandate for.
Totally. It was 56.16 to leave, 43.84 to stay in our Solihull area.
Okay.
And I just have a big problem with our MPs not representing the people because they have every right to campaign and put all their views across when they're, being elected, trying to get their seat. As soon as they're elected, their job is to represent their constituents.
And to serve.
Yes,
yeah.
And I do feel at this time in our political climate, we've just got too many MPs going against the people. And I think it's just appalling.
Do you follow Julian Knight on Twitter?
Not particularly, no.
Okay. Julian has voted consistently with effectively the mandate given by the majority of the Solihull population, and he gets an absolutely terrible time on Twitter. Absolutely terrible. So you can't win either way.
That's a really good point. But he's doing what he's been elected to do. He's doing the right thing. You can't argue against it, even if people don't agree with him. He's doing what he should be doing as an MP.
Yeah.
Makes a mockery of politics
It
if we
does,
don't.
doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah. So, and what now? We've got 5 weeks of them having, some time to do their gardens and things like that.
Nice.
They can relax.
Well, we don't know, do we? They've just had the Scottish judges
That's it.
ruling, but I do think that's a bit of farcical as well. I mean, we've had 3 other judges who've all agreed with Boris, and then suddenly we've got these Scottish judges saying, no, it's wrong, it's illegal.
But you know why they're doing it.
Well, it's basically, isn't it? It's like going into the turkey farm and saying, should
exactly.
we vote against Christmas this year?
Now, if they get some conflict, they will then have some momentum for a second Scottish independence referendum.
That's a very good point, yeah.
Against Westminster, saying that, they're not representing us, blah, blah. But yeah, I agree with you. I think there's an underlying motive behind that. And let's wait until the Supreme Court have a chat on Tuesday about it.
We'll find
but
out.
why
yeah.
would the Supreme Court go against the majority mandate given by the country?
Exactly. This is, again, going
They
back to
can't
the
do that.
point. They shouldn't do that.
No.
They should be representing what the people chose.
Yeah.
And even if it is horrible, it's illegal to not be doing that.
That's right.
It's a mess,
There's
isn't
no
it?
point in voting, was there? If we're
Not really.
and
And at the time, the vote was the highest turnout ever, wasn't it? As
Yeah.
well. So even more than general elections.
it will either go one way or the other next time, won't it? It will either go that no one will vote because they now have no faith in the voting
Yeah,
system.
good point.
Or if, for example, we had to vote on Brexit again, I think people would go in the huge numbers to make it happen, just out of principle.
Yeah.
I think it could be very interesting to see a second vote on Brexit.
If you have listened into our Brexit podcast, I urge you to do so, because we're going to invite some other people to come in and have a chat with Professor de Ruyter from Birmingham City University. He is the Director of Brexit Studies. So if he's not switched on to things, questions need to be asked at the highest level, in my view. So watch this space for the next podcast. What's the next story, Claire?
The next story I'd like to talk about is page 14, and it's Solihull's answer to Greta Thunberg. I don't know if you've been following Greta Thunberg. She's this amazing girl who's been travelling around the world, saving the planet. She recently sailed from Europe to America on this boat, which, a wind-powered boat, so she wasn't using electricity. She does all these things to make points, and she's got her own TED Talks, and she's only, I think, 15 or something, 16 perhaps now. And we've got our very own answer in Scarlett Westbrook from Solihull. She's 15 and she is a chief UK student climate network person. She was recently in Birmingham last Sunday promoting this new Green Deal, but she's now calling on Solihillians to join the global strikes, and she's basically doing a great job putting her message out there, and she wants to change the world. We've got so many young people now, haven't we, who are jumping on this, and they're on it.
Don't get me started.
What?
Go on, I'm intrigued where this is going now.
Don't get me started. No, the young people thing is good. Back in the olden days, when Ian was smaller and and things like that. I'm only kidding. Now that we've got social media and we've got worldwide instant media, it's very easy for the individual to get a message out there and get it shared and followed and things like that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that there is no climate change and anything like that, but realistically, the Swedish girl, she's out there doing her thing for those sort of bits. And we've now got our representative here in Solihull. I think all of us inside feel exactly the same way that girl does. And we're out there, we're doing our bit, we're recycling. I've recently upgraded to LED light bulbs through the whole house. I'm doing my bit. I haven't got an electric car. Do you know anyone with an electric car?
I do, actually, yeah.
And does it work?
Yeah, you'd hope so.
Yeah.
It wasn't cheap. It was a Tesla one.
Wow, that's top end electric car.
Yeah, in fact, it's a company director I know that, and this is he bought 3 Teslas at the same time, and
Well, there's 3 of us.
yeah, I know. So let's see what we can do. Do you know that there was no discount?
Oh, you're
at
kidding.
all, and it's because Tesla as a company never offer any discounts and they never advertise.
Yeah,
I thought it was quite an impressive stance from them. He didn't even get a bunch of flowers. I'd have insisted on at least a bunch of flowers or a coffee voucher or something. But
full tank of petrol. I mean, electricity.
They're amazing.
Are they though?
They are.
Are we ever going to have the infrastructure? We're not going to see petrol forecourts if it takes 35, 45 minutes to charge your car. It's not going to be a sort of dash in, pay for the fuel and get out again, is it?
Well, you can in America. One of my best friends has got a Tesla, and he has a charge in his house. Often over there, they've
charge
got them
overnight.
They just charge it overnight. Yeah.
And we are actually at the moment campaigning to have more charge ports on the agenda. Solihull Council are doing a great job. Hopefully, we're going to get there because it is the way forward, isn't it? I mean, and I hear what you say about
everyone feels this way.
Greta Thunberg and this young girl from Solihull, Scarlett Westbrook. But I do think it's driving the point. I think we need these figureheads, don't we? And it's sometimes nice to look at these young people and think, wow, they are the future and they're giving the rest of us hope. But we're screwed a little bit, aren't we? Because China aren't doing very much. Germany is still building coal power plants every week, and they lecture the rest of us, but they're still building more than anyone else.
So my 12 LED light bulbs are not necessarily going to make a massive dent into the output of China.
Absolutely. Well,
you should still feel very proud of yourself.
Yeah.
I think you should. Talking of feeling proud, that girl, I was reading up about her.
Yeah.
Did you know that at the age of 13, she became the youngest person in the world, not just the UK or Solihull, to basically complete her A-level in government and politics? That's pretty impressive.
Right, and she's a Solihull resident. She needs to be in this room with us.
She needs to be on this podcast.
She does.
She really does.
Can we make some phone calls?
Do it.
That's really impressive.
Yeah.
That's impressed me more than the entire story.
A 13-year-old.
To commit and to study that hard and to do that when most people are doing their A-levels at what age? 17, 18?
That's right.
She's 5 years ahead of schedule.
I don't like what she says about Solihull, especially has been affected by mass redundancies over the past year due to Brexit. Brexit hasn't happened yet. Get her on the podcast and let's raise this point with her.
Let's raise the point.
And also, we've got the best unemployment rates in the country's
region.
history ever and region. So they're taught these things at a young age, aren't they?
It will be a fair and open debate
Absolutely.
if she's sitting in this room.
Well, our council is also striking back because they're saying that they are doing a lot for climate change. And basically, it's this group called Client Earth. They wrote to 100 local authorities. This is a story on page 9 saying, you're not doing enough. You need to do all this climate change stuff and this, that and the other. And our authorities are actually doing a great job. They've recently expanded the waterways that we know about. They're doing all these green flag parks and doing a fantastic job there. They're also doing the passive heating homes. You're looking at me so you want to work there.
No. The thing was, I think they listened to our podcast and they developed the canal clear up from what we were saying.
I think so too.
You're inspiring people.
We are. We're out there. We're the vanguard. We're the trendsetters.
Let's put it out there. Let's say, everybody, we need like a Tesla each. And,
just to try it. see how it works.
And we'll report how great they are. Yeah. And then,
that's doable.
Elon Musk, are you listening to this?
Yeah. Well, I'll tweet him and I'll just send him the link to the pod. But the three of us here, we're doing our bit. We're now influencers in our area. So, what's happening in this climate change thing? When are we going to see a difference? Or is it going to be the generation of my children? Or is it the generation of their children? Or, are we going to have 30 or 40 degree summers in 5 years' time?
If we could get them for Summerfest, that'd be. I'll be honest. There's a part of me that sees a slight advantage to the situation.
But on the backside of that, from October to February, it'll be a monsoon. So we won't have a sunny day.
I'll be my free Tesla.
That's it.
But you know what I heard the other day? It's too many people in the world, really, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Nowadays, how many billion? There's nearly 8 billion or
Hold
something.
on, I've got a great piece of software. Come back to me.
Oh, really? Well, when our grandparents, in the 1920s and 30s, there were only like 2.5 billion on the planet. So we're now nearly 8 billion, I think, 7 point something.
I'll tell you now.
Okay. And it's just too many people, I think. We're just growing at a rate we can't keep up with. And
you got your calculator out?
One second. Come back to me in a minute. Okay. I'll do it in a second.
What are you a big eco warrior, Ian?
Yes, to a degree. Yeah,
What
I think
do you
in
do?
things. So, I mean, I think one of the things I've had to do. So we go back to Solihull Summerfest. Is that next year is my aim to become plastics free, and there's quite a lot more involved in that than I probably thought. Looking at different biodegradable glasses, and then again recycling bins. We just did an event recently in Birmingham. We had a different sort of recycling bins for each type, and then trying to work with them where it goes back to a kind of a tip where they burn it for energy, so as it's being used. So I'm very aware of that side of things.
Because you must get through a lot of plastic bottles
Yeah.
Are they all recycled?
So all the basically it's all collected. We basically have a company that come and collect all the rubbish. They take it back, they sort it, and they recycle what they can,
Brilliant.
and ensure it's used. Next year, what I really want to try and do is make sure that people can bring in their own empty kind of recyclable bottles and stuff that they use, and be able to have water filling stations on site. So
Yeah, I went to a festival a couple of weeks ago in Worcester, the Sunshine Festival, and they just had a couple of taps. The queues for the taps, they were incredible. There were just lines and lines of people filling up their water bottles, but the taps were just constantly running. And it seemed to work quite well.
I've done my calculations. Thank you for filling in
That's all right. We
whilst
filled in some time.
while I was doing my calculations. Right, here we go. 7,619,457,892.
I wonder which number we are.
Was that 3 people that were just born?
I'm watching
literally-
I'm doing it now. It's in live. It's in real time. Since
so
I've
what
been
was it?
watching 1 minute 13 seconds, 273 people have have been born, and 103 people have unfortunately died.
Aw. What was the world population figure in, say, 1920?
I'll check that out. Come back to me.
Going back to the water, the festival thing, Ian. Okay. I'm a big believer in cleaning products. I have everything eco-friendly. Like, I can't bear the people who flush bleach down the loo and everything, because I do think it all just goes into our oceans, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And poisons our fish and everything. And there are so many amazing products out there that you just don't need to be putting all this pollutants out everywhere. And it's also really bad for you. They say all these things that you put on your tables and furniture sprays and cleaning products, they can give you all sorts of ailments because, of course, it absorbs through the skin and
chemicals in it, toxic. Yeah.
So I'm always trying to push that message out there.
Okay, population results are just in.
That was speedy.
Population results in the 1900s, so turn of the century there, 1.56 billion.
So look how
That's
much
a
we're
huge
growing.
increase, isn't it?
It is. We can't sustain
We need
it.
so we need prisons and birth control. That's what.
Prisons and birth control. So yeah, from the turn of the 19th to the turn of the 2000s, we've gone from 1.56 in world population right up to 6.06.
And just think of all those people using plastics and putting pollutants everywhere. And
Yeah, there's going to be pollution,
eating
isn't there?
meat and it's
Mad figures.
It is mad figures.
So,
we need to find another planet to terraform.
There's a lovely web page if you're listening in. Go to breathingearth.net. That will give you real-time simulations of birth, death, and world population, and how much CO2 has been emitted since. In fact, I've been on this website now for 2 minutes. Well, in fact, 3 minutes. And since those last 3 minutes have elapsed, 138,000 tonnes of carbon dioxide have been emitted in the world.
Oh my goodness. Not only is the paper depressing this week,
Yeah,
this
sorry
is
about
depressing.
that, everyone. That's me done. Oh, dear.
What's that website again? I'm making a note of this.
Breathingearth.net. It's a real-time simulation. It also tells you the birth and death rate in every country in the world. So if I just hover my mouse over there, in the United Kingdom, our current population is 64,261,937. 36. Sorry about that.
And
for
what
that
was
person.
our population back at the
Oh,
turn
I
of-
haven't got that detail. I've only got it in real time.
You've really been put to the test.
One person, unfortunately, dies in our country every 54 seconds.
Oh,
But on the flip side, one person is born in our country every 41 seconds.
wow.
So we're catching up.
Okay, well, gosh, you learn all sorts of things, don't
Yeah.
you, on this podcast?
Welcome to our podcast, everybody.
So, guys, I think we've not only just done the Solihull news this week, I think we've done world news, and they should have us controlling the planet right here from this studio, because I think we do have a lot of the answers.
Exactly. Between all three of us, we could nail it.
Perhaps.
Although Ian's on his phone all the time.
Sorry, just had someone say something.
So sorry to depress you guys if you're there listening to this podcast, but don't leave us yet. We'll be straight back with the best things to see and do this week in Solihull. Stay with us.
See you in a bit. Welcome back. You are listening to this week's What's On Solihull with me, Geoff O'Brien from Solihull Radio, Ian Rogers from What's On Solihull, and of course the amazing Claire Bullivant from Solihull Observer.
Oh, you can do the intros again, Geoff. I like that.
See what I did there?
Yes.
Nice work. We're starting on, Friday the 13th of September. The Three Lions Beer Festival. It's also on Saturday as well at the Shirley British Legion in Parkgate. Solihull, it's B90-3BQ, where there'll be 18 real ales.
You're easily sold.
I'm there. 5 ciders, open each day from 12 until 12 noon, that is, until 10 p.m. Admission is £10. You get your glass, your programme, and £5 in beer tokens. So that's really only a £5 in, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm interested. Right, www.shirleylions.co.uk/events. And I'm sure you'll find the beer festival information there. But when's that again? It's Friday, that's tomorrow.
Friday the 13th. Also on Friday the 13th, if you can still get tickets, because I know they've just been flying, but at the Core tomorrow night, Friday the 13th, it's the Roy Orbison story. This is Barry Steele and friends return with this brilliant show. If you do manage to get a ticket, grab it because it's going to be a great show.
It's also on Saturday as well. So if you can't get a ticket for Friday, move across to the weekend.
Okay, great. He's a good tribute, actually, Barry.
You've seen him?
Yeah, really good.
Brilliant.
Really good show. Saturday the 14th of September, Borsal Common have got their Residents Association litter pickers. You basically meet by Borsal Common Library at 10 o'clock, and you can get more information by emailing lovesolihull@solihull.gov.uk. I noticed some guys doing that in the park the other week. They actually stopped me. I was running around Bruton Park, and they stopped me, and they have a little team of people that go around.
Go back a bit there. What did he just say?
I was running around
He
Bruton
was
Park.
running around Bruton Park.
Working off my cake.
Yeah.
You know the rules.
Eat cake, run.
So, yeah, and they were just basically, they've got people that's going out and they go running and they stop and do litter picking as they go along. That's quite good.
Talking of running, didn't you just do a big run?
I did the wolf run at the weekend.
How was
Nice.
Oh, I'm fitter than I thought I was.
Amazing.
I didn't suffer as badly as I was imagining.
But did you hear this, Ian? He swam in his trainers.
I know, open water
Did
swimming.
everyone swim in their trainers?
Yeah, you just have to jump in. And the stuff that you actually, as you jump in, it feels actually, your foot sinks into something that you've got no idea what it is. And then you sort of try and get the swimming going, and your trainers get so heavy, you just find it really tricky. And the temperature of the water took my breath away as well, so I was struggling a bit.
And then when you come out and run again,
Yeah.
don't you get blisters because your feet are all wet?
Yeah, you do, yeah.
Well, it sounds horrendous.
Yeah, it was
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I tell you what, I'm sneakily thinking about doing the winter one.
What about a Tough Mudder? Something like that? Would you do that?
They're easier.
Easier?
They're easier, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, I did the one down in Leamington Spa. It's a brand new venue. The obstacles were amazing. They were so high. The cargo nets were built so high up. And whatnot. But it was really good fun.
I did a Tough Mudder over in America in San Diego a couple of years ago, and it was amazing, but we didn't really do half the obstacles because you don't have to do them.
You just walk around
You could
them.
just walk around them. And we just did lots of photos at the end, posing in our headbands and things. So
Cool.
It's good fun to just do, isn't it? You don't have to do them.
I know, but thank you very much to the Get Ahead charity. Louise is the charity manager there on the Warwick Road, and while I'm here, if you can get across to the Get Ahead website, they still have some tickets available for the Get Ahead charity ball, which is called Step Into Christmas at the Hilton Metropole. So
Fabulous.
go and have a look there, please.
Going back to Saturday this weekend, the 14th of September, we've got Harvest Saturday happening at Packwood House, Lapworth, Solihull. Come and meet the garden team, they say, to see what's being harvested in the garden this autumn. You can sample and learn all about the fresh produce grown at Packwood. So that's a nice thing to do, isn't it? And it's all part of the National Trust. So you can find out all the details on the National Trust website, which is nationaltrust.org.uk.
Here's a good one. If you've listened to this podcast before, you would also know that we would have Mel in having a chat, and she's the chief executive of the Solihull BID, the Business Improvement District. Now, we have got the Street Circus coming to Solihull on Saturday, the 14th of September. If I just quickly read you the details, it's flying into the town centre between 11 o'clock and 4 o'clock with a mesmerising display of different circus acts. Shows will be taking place in a unique big yellow bus, which will be positioned in Mel Square. And a completely free event as well.
It looks great. I've seen the posters and the billboards around town. Does it really? It looks really, that's really entertaining.
The last time I saw these guys, they were down in Covent Garden. And
Okay.
they basically travel around, and they were so good in Covent Garden. Trapeze acts, jugglers, fire, the whole thing. And it's just a really good show. You can just walk up and watch some proper old school street performance.
And Mel, in this week's column in the paper, she hastens to add there are no animals. It's not that sort of circus.
No.
She does a good column actually this week in the paper, all about all the things that Solihull does bring to the high street and bring into town. And it's amazing to see, isn't it? We just love the Solihull bid because they do so many of these sort of things, and it really does get people, shopping on our high street. And
They've had a great programme of events
Yeah.
recently, really good.
Not going to give you too much of a heads up, but towards the end of the month, it's the food festival.
I do love food.
I tell you, Mel
You found
is...
my weak
festival.
spot again.
Yeah, you know-
More running
Festivals
around the
and
park
festival.
required.
You know why Mel's not here? She's busy organising all of the events for the town centre.
absolutely. And hasn't she just got back from New York or something?
Yeah,
as well?
she's just flown back.
been-
She's been food testing over in New York.
Cheesecake? New York cheesecake style?
and deli stuff. But that'll be great. So if you are in or around Solihull on Saturday, why don't you come down to the town centre between 11 and 4 and have a watch of the amazing street circus.
Perfect. Also, I have noticed that the Eton Fine Art Gallery between 1 and 3, if you're in the town, Lee Lambert, very good artist, will be showing some of his work there. And also signing things as well. So.
Brilliant.
Have you ever been into that? Eton
No,
art?
but I keep seeing all the events they have on.
They tweet us and Instagram us quite a lot, and we've been down with the Touchwood team. It's some really good. It just feels really nice when you walk in. Nice bunch of people as well.
Brilliant. Also on Saturday, I love these. These are last night of the proms, and this is happening by the Shirley Brass Band at the Dove House Theatre. And this is one of the best brass bands in the region, they tell me.
I can tell you a little bit more actually, because I had two of the players in yesterday.
Oh, fantastic.
Is that what that noise was?
That was the noise. Sorry about that.
Think about your neighbours.
Yeah, they were both in yesterday. They were telling me a little bit about the history of the brass band. It is 100 years old this year.
Oh, fantastic.
And between you, me and Ian, one of the longest serving members was here, a guy called Philip. His second longest serving member, because I think Robin has pipped him at the post there. And it's going to be a great gig. Last night at the proms, it's exactly the same as last night at the proms on the telly. They've got a lovely programme and lineup. They've got a guest soloist from Birmingham Conservatoire and the Grimethorpe Band, a lady called Helen Varley from memory. I'm sorry, Helen, if I've got your surname wrong. And she's going to be coming to play tenor horn, and she is world-class brass band
Amazing.
player. And it'll be at the Dove House Theatre.
Do you play any brass instruments? I know you play all sorts of instruments.
I can get by on trombone.
Oh, fab.
I know where the notes are.
I'm just always so amazed.
He does everything, doesn't he?
Any time he says something that
Okay.
makes my jaw drop.
Yeah.
Whether
I
it's
can-
rock
with, like,
climbing
I
or...
can get by. I know where the notes are at college. You know what it's like at college. They try and teach you a little bit of everything.
It didn't me.
No, I didn't even get the triangle.
Did I not tell you about the triangle story?
No.
That's another story for another time.
Okay, we'll look forward to that another time.
Moving on to Sunday, the 15th of September, we've got the Meadow Management. I love these guys. Every weekend, they seem to do fantastic conservation projects all over the place, and they're always looking for volunteers. And this weekend, it's at Packhorse Bridge, Marsh Lane in Hampton and Arden. You can join them and just help make our area a better place, really, whether it's mending bridges or sorting out hedgerows or anything conservation-wise. These guys are just truly incredible. You can contact them. Give Dave Fernie a call on 0121 459 1697.
There's a bit of competition next, isn't there? Have you seen what's happened?
It's definitely wedding fair season.
Yeah,
isn't
it is, isn't it? Right. Do you want to do the first one? I'll go second.
Okay, yeah, the Regency Hotel, 12 till 3, a wedding fair taking place there. They'll have lots of beautiful wedding setups there for you and some inspiration if you're looking to get married. You've set the date and you're looking for, be it entertainers, florists, you name it, cakes, they'll all be there.
If you need a piano player, by the way, give me a call.
Always. Acoustic Runaways,
Yeah.
I've heard are very good.
Oh, thank you very much.
Quick little name
Is that what your
check
band's
there.
called?
Yeah,
Okay.
well remembered. I was quite
Yeah,
proud
no,
of
that's
myself
right.
then as well.
It's worked.
No pause. Complimentary canapes and prosecco upon arrival. I might even pretend I'm getting married in one.
Yeah.
Fancy coming along.
Canapes and prosecco,
Get
I'll go with
those
that.
straight out. The number, if you want any more information, is 0121 745 6119.
If you have finished with your complimentary canapes and prosecco, why don't you just drive down the road a little bit it. And head into Hogarth's Hotel and do exactly the same thing there. Another wedding fair for you. 01564 779988 for more details.
Love that venue.
And then after you've been to your wedding fairs, perhaps you fancy some jazz and jokes. Do you reckon the people who were arranging this jazz concert thought, what can we do that's a bit different? What goes with jazz?
Jokes. With a joke.
Yeah,
But it's a brilliant idea, isn't it? It's the Barnhart and Huxley Hot 5, and it's all happening at the Core, hosted by Malcolm Stent, who we all know, we've mentioned before on the podcast.
Yep.
And this is a new start time of 2:30 on Sunday afternoon, allowing a sublime afternoon of jazz and jokes. And you can also be home by tea time, that's what they say. If you want more information, just contact the Core box office.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, moving on to Monday, the 16th of September. Solihull Local History Circle. The September monthly meeting, the history of Hillfield. The history of Hillfield Hall is a talk on the important house from 1311. Now, that's not 11 minutes past 1, is it?
That's
No,
1311.
that's at 1311 to modern times. Now, if you'd like to go to that, it's 7:15 for a 7:45 start at the Methodist Hall, Station Road in Solihull. Guests are £3, and you can Google that and just have a little look. Solihull Local History Circle if you're interested.
Perfect. And then on Tuesday, the 17th of September, I would have absolutely loved this. Keith Slater, who's a great musician and singer, is in a band called Vivo. I think they're called Vivo or Viva. He's doing a celebration of Sinatra at the Core at 2:00. Laid back, relaxed, easygoing show for people. So if you do like your Frank Sinatra, all those favourite songs, which I'm a huge Rat Pack fan, so I'm tempted to pop along to that.
Yeah, should be good.
Well, it's another packed week of events and things to do in Solihull. And remember, if you've got an event going on, do let us know at the Solihull Observer, at Solihull Radio, and at What's on Solihull. And let us know so we can let everyone know. Anyway, thanks for listening to this podcast, and we'll be back next week. Thanks, Geoff.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Thanks
Ian.
a lot.
Bye.